You're about to take the C1 Advanced Speaking exam. Oof, that is marvellous. I'm so happy for you. However, you might be trying a little too hard. Seriously, I get this question all the time.
Toby, can you give me some complex structures to use in my speaking exam?
For C1 Advanced, I don't like this question because it suggests to me that you're going to try and memorize a structure and then reproduce it on the day, and I'm really sorry, but that's not how speaking works. Even worse than this, I've seen videos on social media that encourage candidates to memorize long answers for the "where are you from" question, because according to these videos, it will create a good impression. No, seriously, this will not create a good impression. Actually, it will do the opposite, because you're just wasting everybody's time. Cambridge even specify that rehearsed responses should be avoided, and guess what? Examiners know this, so please, no. Look, if you're taking the C1 Advanced Speaking exam, the whole point of the exam is to gauge whether you can communicate effectively. Some candidates will just think that they must use some complex grammar, and so they will answer really simple questions in really complicated ways. Like this. Bruce, where do you live? Never have I heard such a profound question that has required me to think in such a deep and erudite way. Next year I will have been living in my current domicile for 30 years, and it is situated in London, yeah. Here the student has used inversion, a defining relative clause, the passive and the future perfect continuous, when all they really needed was the present simple. And I know, you're going to say,
"But Toby, you told me to answer questions in part 1 of the B2 first exam using complex grammar like this."
And indeed I did, but I did that for a reason. Here is the B2 first marking scheme that speaking examiners use. Anything that is 3 or above is a pass. Anything below 3 is a fail. If you want a 3, which is a pass, then you need to show good control of these simple grammatical forms, but you also need to attempt some complex grammatical forms. So, if you're taking the B2 First Speaking exam, the difference between a pass and a fail could be whether you have at any point attempted some complex grammar. But for C1 Advanced, this is not the same. No. You now need to show control of complex grammatical forms, and this means using them appropriately without making mistakes to communicate your ideas effectively. And no, having control of a complex grammatical form is not memorizing an answer to a question. That's the opposite of control. That means you've had to rehearse it because you cannot manipulate the forms effectively in your brain. Bruce, do you have anything planned for this summer? If I had planned something to do this summer, then I would have already planned it and I would be telling you right now, but I haven't planned anything, so I don't have any plans because I've got no friends, sorry. Good gosh, imagine having a conversation with someone that spoke like that. That would be a nightmare. And the whole point of the speaking exam is to see how well you do in conversation. But now it is time for me to contradict myself. Well, no, it's going to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I'm not contradicting myself, I promise. Because you really should push yourself to use complex grammar if it helps you communicate your ideas more effectively. Sometimes in the C1 Advanced Speaking exam, you don't really have a choice. You have to use complex grammar to communicate your ideas in an appropriate way. Take part 2 of the speaking exam, for example. If you don't know how to use modal verbs to speculate about the present and past modals of deduction, then you're not going to be able to deal with the task effectively. So it's not about pushing yourself, forcing yourself to use some grammar to show the examiner. No, instead it's about using appropriate grammar to answer the questions in a good way. And this isn't only about communicating your ideas. It's about communicating your ideas, not simply to transmit information, but also to place emphasis where you want to place it, to communicate it with the tone and the way that you feel gets the message across. That all sounds a little bit confusing, so let me show you a perfect example of this. Monica, tell me about something exciting you did recently.
Yeah, I went to a concert and I got to meet the vocalist of the band. And I got an autograph. Oh my god, he smelled so good.
I mean, this is fine, right? It gets the point across, and to be fair, Monica's intonation here does place emphasis where emphasis needs to be placed. However, this is one of those occasions where utilizing complex grammar can emphasize how bloody cool this experience was for Monica. Take a look at this. Monica, tell me about something exciting you did recently.
Yeah, I went to a concert and not only did I get to meet the vocalist, but I also got his autograph. Oh my god, he smelled so good.
This is perfect use of inversion, and this is the difference between C1 and B2. A B2 student will use inversion to show the examiner that they know it. For example, what's your favourite subject at school? Not only do I like maths, but also I like English. While a C1 student will use inversion to better communicate the ideas that they want to communicate. So remember, complex doesn't always mean better. Sometimes simple is better. Save the complex for when the complex is necessary. Yeah, and with that, we are finished. If you liked the video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment down below. My name is Toby, and this was Smash English.